hey, welcome back. I didn't see you there. Tap, 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 tap. Okay, let's continue. So what we're going to do next is we're going to make our button actually useful. But first, let's make it not so nonsensically large. So goodbye, padding 100. I thoroughly enjoyed you when you were nonsensically chunky. What we want to do now is we want to get our counter to be able to count. That sounds about right, right? We want our counter to count. Good. And in order to do that, you need a variable. Remember variables from Swift, right? So you're going to need a variable. Variable is going to store 0 at the very beginning. And every time the button is tapped, the variable is going to increase by 1. We're going to pass this variable into the text using string interpolation. Remember that. And that will display this number inside this sentence right here. Okay, so let's do that. The way we're going to do that is we're going to create a variable. Where do you create a variable? All right, this is a little bit tricky. You're going to need to go after the words struct content view colon view open curly brace. Press enter. I like to press enter a couple of times and leave a bit of space in between this variable and the body, which is on the next line. And you might have noticed that the body is also a variable, right? We'll explain that sometime in the far future, very, very far away. Okay, so create a variable, var counter equals 0. As you know, in Swift, what that does is it creates a counter that is an integer and it's set to 0. Okay, what I want to do now is I want to put this variable inside our text over here. So I'm going to delete away this 0 and type in slash brackets and put in counter. Simple enough. Nothing changes in our app preview because, it's still 0. But if you want to prove that it works, you can change this 0 to maybe 10. And in our app preview, it now says 10. So we know for sure that what we've done in counter is going to show up in our text. Let's set it back to 0 first. And finally, you might want to think, where should I put the code to increase our counter? Well, there's only one place where this can work. Then that's the action of the button. Okay? So inside here, it says print bye-bye cookie. That's actually not visible to the user, right? When you're running an app, no one's actually going to see any of this. Now, what you want to do is you want to go to the next line of print and say counter plus equals 1. Remember that? Counter plus equals 1 will take whatever counter is and increment it by 1 and give you an error. Whoop. All right, so here you go. This is not unexpected, right? This error, we thoroughly expected it. It says left side of mutating operator isn't mutable. X-Men. All right, self is immutable. What's going on? What is this error message? Remember all these cryptic error messages from Swift? This is amazingly cryptic. So what's going on? Right, this is a variable, right? Variables are mutable. It's not a let constant, right? Constants are immutable. This is a scam, right? Variables are mutable and I should be able to change variables. Okay, so what's going on is there's something new here. We are in what's called a struct. All right, what this is called a struct. We'll be talking about this more in the next unit. In the context of a struct, you cannot change any of its properties. Okay, this variable right here is a property of the struct. You cannot change a variable that's declared in a struct from within the struct. Okay, these are what we call value types, and we will learn more about this at some point in the future. Okay, all right. So how do we fix this? Well, that's actually fairly straightforward. You're just going to need to type in a little bit more code. In front of the word var, type in the word at state. Note that at state, at is the squiggly sign thingy, right? There's a name for this, I forgot what it's called. And state is capital S. And when you do that, the errors have gone away. We are amazed. And I think everything should work as you expect. You can just test your app right now. Ooh. So what is this at state variable that you've just typed in? And why is it so magical? Why does it let us increase numbers and, mutate things that are formerly immutable? So at state is called a property wrapper, right? And that's spelled wrapper with a W, right? Not someone who writes and spins up lyrics about real estate. Okay, not that kind of property wrapper. Okay, it's a property wrapper, right? So this right here, right, you can imagine this as a variable that's stored inside a property wrapper. So let me open up. Ooh, it's got actual chocolate. Right. So this is a property wrapper that's stored our little variable. Okay. And the great thing about this is that it can be changed. Right. So stretching this analogy to its unnatural limits, imagine, if you will, that you had a piece of chocolate and you just cannot eat it, right? Because it's been sitting there and it's kind of encased in dust and grime, and you're not allowed to eat it. However, by putting it inside a property wrapper, it's perfectly safe. You can do whatever you want with it anytime. Look at this. It's super cute. Ow. I didn't think this through. Now I need to finish chewing before I finish recording. So hang in there. You can watch me chew this piece of chocolate, all right? Okay, that was pretty amazing, right? I'm sorry you had to wait about 20 seconds for me to resume the video. So, great analogy. Actually, no, terrible analogy. Decent chocolate. This is from Australia, right? Only the UK Cadbury is worth eating, but I do all these things for you, my dear viewers. So please like and subscribe. So what was I saying? State variables, right? So state variables are essentially ways of wrapping around this variable called counter so that it can be changed. And what's really magical about this is that when you actually make a change to this state variable, it actually updates the entire UI in any place that it's been used. Okay, so when I tap on this button, it runs these two lines of code, it prints bye-bye cookie, and it increments counter by 1. And by increasing counter by 1, this entire piece of text re-renders itself. It will be aware that it's got a state variable in it, and it's like, ooh, you've changed. All right, I should display something different to the user. Okay, and that's it. We're done with this little section. You now have a working counter app. It's pretty awesome. You can just keep tapping it for fun. All right, I'm going to sit here and I'm going to tap on my amazing counter. And I would like you to do the same. But also, please like and subscribe and let me know in the comments if you have any questions. Okay, see you soon. Fredo and I say bye. Wait, I'm not tapping.